Welcome back to Roundtable. I am here with Carlos of Texas Wellness Center. How you doing, Carlos?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. We just got done doing an interview about Texas Wellness Center and about Green Lotus Hemp. I wanted to. I've been waiting for it to come and talk to you about. The DEA thinks CBD oil is the same as a Schedule One narcotic, and just my perspective about the whole situation is, what are they talking about? All I've seen in terms of me personally, in terms of cannabis, all I've seen is them try to scrutinize, or at least as far as the DEA is concerned, them try to scrutinize the communities that are trying to reform it and make it a part of society, and they just keep looking for, I don't know, petty reasons to slow the progress down.
I guess first I'll say that the DEA didn't schedule anything. The DEA has always held the position that anything from the cannabis plant is a Schedule One. So, people say, "Oh, the DEA scheduled CBD." No, they didn't. What they did was they created a rule to track marijuana extracts, and they defined any extract of any part of the cannabis plant to be a cannabis extract. So by doing that, they lump hemp into there because hemp is, by definition, defined as a form of cannabis. So they've always held that position. The DEA has always held the position that CBD was a Schedule One, and any cannabinoid derived from cannabis to them is a Schedule One. They fought that fight in 2004, the Hemp Industry Association. It was about Dr. Bronner soap. So Dr. Bronner is a famous company that makes
Dr. Bronner soap, you said?
yeah, Dr. Bronner soap. They make um, soaps out of hemp seed oil, and those products contain, even hemp seeds contain 10 parts per million THC. So the DEA was trying to say that any trace amounts of THC is illegal, right? And they went to court because the definition of marijuana actually excludes um, certain parts of the plant. So seeds, stalks, they're excluded from the definition of marijuana. So that's how you can go to Walmart or buy hemp seed, right? Because it's excluded from the definition of marijuana. Um, so non-viable seeds. So
Man, you can't grow it.
I mean, you can't grow them. Yeah, they're crushed or they're pressed into oil or things of that nature. So because the THC was from a non-marijuana part of the plant, Dr. Bronner and the hemp industry argued that the DEA has no enforcement over scheduling cannabinoids that are clearly not in violation of the definition, right? And the HIA won that case and DEA lost that case. So this was in 2004 out of the Ninth Circuit Court. So this is kind of a similar situation where you have, they're trying to say that all cannabinoids are illegal from any part of the cannabis plant. So once again, that would even mean hemp seeds or stocks if they contain 1 part per million THC and 1 part per million CBD. An extract from that, so like hemp seed oil, would be illegal, right? But clearly it's not.
So they're basically using mathematics to try to make it illegal.
But they're using a convenient interpretation of the law, right? So now when it comes to industrial hemp, so before 2014, hemp was considered stalks and seeds of the cannabis plant because it was not marijuana. Now you have the federal government that's carved out a different definition for industrial hemp and legalized the processing, sale, and transportation within or outside of the state in which the hemp is grown, as long as it's grown in accordance with the 2014 Farm Bill, the legitimacy of the research of industrial hemp section 7606. So as long as it's grown in accordance with section 7606, then that is legally compliant, that is Farm Bill compliant, it's excluded from the Controlled Substance Act. So what they've done is they've laid the groundwork to if they want to, charge people or raid people. But whether or not they'll win those cases in court is a whole other story. But, it's anything in the cannabis industry is about building a solid defense for yourself. Because then you can always, no matter what, the DEA can kick in our door because they feel like it. you know. But it's about building a solid defense. And what we've done is we are 100% in compliance with the Farm Bill. You know, we are doing research with 2 universities. So the Farm Bill says that hemp must be grown for purposes of research, right? And in Colorado, their pilot programs are not done through universities. They have R&D licenses that they issue to universities, only universities, and then commercial licenses they issue to any grower that wants to grow hemp. So some people say, oh, Colorado hemp is not compliant with the Farm Bill because you have all these people that are growing hemp commercially that aren't growing it for purposes of research. The Farm Bill says industrial hemp must be grown for purposes of research on the growth, cultivation, and marketing.
But cannabis is legal in Colorado.
Yeah, well, no. Okay. Marijuana is legal at the state level. And industrial hemp is legal at the state level. But they're very distinct, right? So you can't, it's not just cannabis, cannabis is the genus, right? It's marijuana and industrial hemp are both legal. So even though it's legal there, people say, okay, yeah, it's legal to grow hemp in Colorado, but you can't transport it out of the state if you're not growing it through an R&D license with a university for research. So all these commercial growers, 90% of them aren't doing research. They're just growing it and selling it outside of the state, which it's my opinion that the feds are cracking down on people that aren't compliant or are going to crack down on people that are not compliant.
Well, ultimately, then they're doing their job.
Yeah, I mean, you know, but I mean, yeah, I guess you could definitely say that.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not that I agree. I personally understand that. Well, if the state's already said, well, yeah, you can grow cannabis. We don't really care how you use it. They've already said that. At that point, the federal, again, in my opinion, the Fed really shouldn't have any say on that. However, because the CSA is above state level legislation, that's the DEA saying, oh, this is what that says.
The CSA is the law of the land, right? I mean, so, but no, you're right. Within the state, they have no jurisdiction, you know, but that doesn't mean they won't kick your door down and seize your assets and raid you. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. They can do what they want. So, you know, for us, it's making sure that we're compliant with the Farm Bill, making sure that we test all of our products to make sure they test non-detectable amounts of THC.
Like, there needs to be, I think, like you said before, there's a clear distinction that the state level cannabis is fine in places like Colorado, but like understanding that when the DEA decides, oh, we're going to consider CBD a CBD oil the same as a Schedule 1 narcotic, like there's a game they're playing, but it starts with education. You need to know that first off, you're not breaking the law in the first place. You're based on the letter of the law. You're doing it for research purposes, and you're helping expand on the narrative of industrial hemp. But I mean, for people who don't understand the difference, what's a way they can educate themselves on understanding that?
Well, I mean, you can go to our website. In our website, we have a section called legal documents, and it gives you a narrative to what I just said, and includes links to all the federal statutes by which we abide by. You know, you can't believe everything you read in Leafly magazine, right? So it's like, understand that fear mongering sells. You know, how often do you turn the news on and see positive, happy news? You see somebody murdered somebody, or somebody went to jail, or something, right? Or so, tragedy, fear sells. So all these news publications, a lot of them, when the story first came out, started putting out some statements out there that weren't truly very well researched, right? So I would say, understand that the DEA is a law enforcement agency, and with all due respect to the DEA, their job is to enforce federal law. Right, not to change law. Now, the DEA does have the ability to schedule substances, but they must go through the right procedures. So the DEA can issue an intent to schedule a substance, post it in the Federal Register, and then within 30 days, they do a temporary scheduling for 2 to 3 years. During that 2 to 3 year period, they have to prove that it's a harmful substance and has a high potential for abuse.